If you've ever tried booking a beach holiday in Mexico, you may have noticed something strange. There aren't many large coastal cities to choose from. Sure, there are famous places like Cancun and Acapulco, plus numerous coastal resorts in small towns or villages. But aside from Tijuana, all of Mexico's largest cities with a population of 1 million people or more are located inland. Why? Considering Mexico has an overall population of around 130 million and a coastline measuring 9,330 kilometers or 5,797 miles, this is not what you'd typically expect. However, when you start to look at the historical, geographical, and economic factors affecting the country, it all starts to make a lot more sense. Let's start by taking a brief trip through Mexico's troubled past. Long before the arrival of the Spanish in the 16th century, Mexico was home to several advanced indigenous civilizations, including the Olmecs, Maya, Zapotecs, Mixtecs, and Aztecs. These civilizations established their major centers and cities in various regions across the country. For example, the Maya civilization thrived in the Yucatan Peninsula and the southern regions, while the Aztecs built their capital, Tenochtitlan, modern-day Mexico City, on an island in Lake Texcoco. During those times, Texcoco was a natural lake and marsh system, which at its peak, about 11,000 years ago, covered 2,189 square miles, 5,670 kilometers squared, and was over 500 feet, 150 meters deep. It was a thriving hub that was used for water, fishing, and transport. Now, of course, the lake no longer exists. It was drained to prevent flooding and to make it less salty so that people could drink from it. But it's in this same region that many modern-day Mexicans remain. When the Spanish conquest of Mexico began in 1519 with the arrival of Hernán Cortés, the colonizers established a new urban layout based on European planning principles, which often included a central plaza, a cathedral, and government buildings. Many of these colonial cities were founded on or near the ruins of pre-existing indigenous settlements. Rather than establish new towns and cities on the coast, the Spanish preferred to settle inland, largely due to security concerns in the form of English, French, and Dutch pirates. The Spanish also wanted to control the indigenous populations. This eventually led to the foundation of major cities such as Mexico City, Guadalajara, Puebla, and Morelia, which are all located in the central part of the country. The Spanish did establish some coastal cities for strategic and economic reasons. Two major port cities, namely Veracruz on the Gulf of Mexico and Acapulco on the Pacific coast, played vital roles in trade and commerce between Mexico and Spain, and they also facilitated the exchange of goods between the Americas and Europe. However, a lack of further port cities led to a monopoly of foreign trade, essentially starving other settlements along the coast and preventing them from growing. At the same time, the Spanish colonial system included large estates known as haciendas, which were primarily used for agriculture, mining, and livestock production. These haciendas often attracted rural populations to settle in the surrounding areas, leading to the development of smaller towns and villages. Throughout the 19th and 20th centuries, Mexico experienced significant urbanization and industrialization. Industrial centers emerged in areas with abundant natural resources and access to transportation routes, leading to the growth of cities like Monterrey, Guadalajara, and Ciudad Juarez. It's only in more recent times that tourism and services have become major contributors to the Mexican economy, leading to the development of tourist destinations like Cancun, Puerto Vallarta, and Los Cabos. Meanwhile, Mexico City has grown into one of the largest urban settlements in the world, drawing people from all regions of the country. Even if Mexico were to somehow rearrange itself now, the distribution of cities would be heavily impeded by the country's geographical limitations. Mexico is characterized by rugged and mountainous terrain, particularly along its coastlines. Mountain ranges like the Sierra Madre Occidental and Sierra Madre Oriental run parallel to the coasts, making it difficult to establish large cities directly on the shoreline. The steep slopes and limited flat land near the coast limit urban expansion. In addition to this, coastal areas in Mexico are prone to various natural hazards, including hurricanes, tsunamis, and coastal erosion. These hazards can pose significant risks to coastal developments, leading to concerns about the safety and sustainability of building large cities in vulnerable areas. Add to that the potential threat to Mexico's diverse coastal ecosystems, such as mangroves, wetlands, and coral reefs, which are critical for biodiversity and serve as natural buffers against coastal erosion and storm impacts. And for many, it simply wouldn't be worth it. In fact, the Mexican government and environmental organizations often prioritize conservation efforts, limiting concerning large-scale urbanization in ecologically sensitive coastal regions. There'd also be an issue with water. While being near the ocean provides access to seawater, some coastal areas in Mexico may face challenges in securing freshwater supplies. Establishing large cities would require extensive infrastructure to supply water to the population. Roads, bridges, utilities, and ports would need to be built, and due to the country's rugged terrain, it's a task that can be very costly and complex. As it is now, Mexico has managed to build a few thriving coastal cities, while seeking a balance between economic development and preserving its natural environment. Efforts to improve transportation and infrastructure have been slow but successful, and could well help to overcome some of the geographical challenges when it comes to developing and expanding coastal cities in the future. Mind you, it'll take a lot of time for the country to venture away from its roots. Historically, Mexico's economy was driven by agriculture and mining, which may have led to the concentration of population in inland regions, where resources and farmland were more abundant. As the economy developed, industrial centers and trade hubs emerged, with the majority again found inland due to resource availability and transportation infrastructure. Oddly enough, the building of Mexico's first railway may have slowed the development of coastal regions even further. Built in the mid-19th century, it connected Veracruz to Mexico City, and later extended to the Pacific. It paved the way for significant foreign investment, attracting more people from small rural areas to the large urban cities served by the railway. The promise of better prospects, higher incomes, and improved living standards encouraged migration to the capital and other major cities, most of which were inland. At the same time, an increased focus on education, exemplified by the establishment of UNAM in Mexico City, the largest university in the Americas, attracted more students and young people. As for trading in the modern world, Mexico does most of its trading with the United States. Since the two countries are connected by land, there's little need for multiple trade ports on the coast. Even when trading with countries to the south, a land-based trade route is still available via Guatemala, so it doesn't make much sense for Mexico to develop its coastal regions for the sake of trade. It's only in recent decades that tourism has begun to drive development along the Mexican coastline. Cities like Cancun and Puerto Vallarta have experienced rapid growth due to their appeal as tourist destinations. However, while visitors often seek a tropical climate with warm weather, beaches, and water-based activities, the locals prefer to live in mild and temperate climates in regions like the Central Highlands. Inland cities like Guadalajara and Puebla are known for their pleasant climates, and have therefore continued to see significant population growth too. While in the past Mexico has had several reasons to avoid building coastal settlements, the tide is slowly beginning to turn, and we could well see a different trend in the years to come. The reason why Mexico doesn't have many large coastal cities right now is because of its rich history, diverse geography, and economic situation, all of which have shaped the distribution of its population in a way that creates a rich tapestry of cultural and geographical experiences throughout the country. And that's all there is to it. Have you visited Mexico? And if so, where did you go? Would you prefer to live on the coast or inland? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and if you like videos like these, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And be sure to watch this video next, because it's what YouTube recommends the most.